Today on Bubblegum Digest, we'll visit the White Pines Deer Park in Oregon, Illinois.
And we'll find out all about a sport that's played on ice using brooms.
Bubblegum Digest, telling you all in the world that's new. Bubblegum Digest, bringing the news to you.
Bubblegum Digest with Allyson Johnson, Adam Gross, and the Bubblegum Digest team.
Bubblegum Digest, bringing the news to you.
The Rosner-Hickson Laboratory has admitted that they made mistakes when they tested meals used for the National School Lunch Program. The laboratory was hired last February by the Chicago Tribune, who published a series of articles on the National School Lunch Program. The Tribune asked the firm to analyze the food served in the school lunches in the Chicago area. At the time, the lab found that the lunches didn't provide enough energy and didn't have the minimum amount of vitamins the government requires for school children. Now the lab has found that some of the information regarding the school lunches was incorrect. The lunches actually contain more nutrients than they were given credit for. The 2 employees of the lab who made the errors have been dismissed, and a new series of tests was properly conducted and correctly published by the Tribune.
President Carter received a report card for his first year in office from kids all over the United States. Over 21,000 kids who read Current Events magazine, which tells kids what's going on in the world, were the ones who graded the president. In foreign affairs, the kids gave Carter a C+. In domestic affairs, the president received a C, and he got a B- in personal qualities. Carter's final grade from the kids was a C+. This was the same grade given to him by political science professors who were surveyed by U.S. News and World Report magazine.
And now for our on-the-spot report.
Do you know what sport combines shuffleboard, billiards, and bowling and is played on ice using brooms? Well, Bubblegum Digest reporter Colleen Carey has the answer.
It's curling, and it's the most popular sport in Canada. Here in Wilmette, the Curtis Curling Center, operated by the Wilmette Park District, is the only public facility in the entire Midwest. Betty Duguid is the manager of the center and helps coach the Junior Curling League. Is it difficult to learn to curl?
No, Colleen, it isn't. It's a very easy sport to learn how to curl. And if you look just over here, you'll see a young lad getting ready to throw a stone. Now, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 motion. He's going to push the stone out 1, pull it back 2, and down 3, push it down the ice. See how fast it goes? It takes very little energy to get that stone down.
How heavy is the stone?
The stone is 40 pounds, and it's made out of granite.
What equipment is needed?
All you need when you come here to the center is a pair of shoes. Now, the only thing about the shoe is it should have a soft nylon sole, a very soft rubber sole. That's when you learn to curl. Then after you've learned to curl a little bit, you will use one of these and put it on your left foot so you'll slide with your left foot.
Why do you want to slide?
Well, it helps your follow through.
When you're delivering it, how far do you want to get it down there?
Well, you want to get it down to the house at the end, way down there, 138 feet, right to its goal, which is, you see the little button? That's where you're going to try and place the stone.
How many stones are used in a game?
There's 16, so there's 8 for each side. There's 2 teams, so there's 16 stones. So one team will have black handles, and the other will have red handled stones. And each player will throw 2 stones each.
How many players are on a team?
4.
When you're curling, do you want to knock any stones?
If they're the opposition stones, then you try and knock them out of the house.
If you knock your own stone, is there a penalty for that?
No, it's just bad luck. Because if your stone's in the house, you like to keep it there.
How many points are scored when you get it in the house?
If you were the red team and I were the black team, and say you had 2, at the end of the end, if you had 2 black handles closer than any of my reds, you would count 2. So that would mean it's 1 point for each stone, closest to the button.
Thank you very much for talking with me, Betty.
You're very welcome, Colleen. Now, would you like to try it?
Sure, that'd be neat.
Okay.
You can come to the Curtis Curling Center in Wilmette to watch or to learn how to play. This is Colleen Carey reporting for Bubblegum Digest.
Walt Disney's Candle Shoe is a super comedy movie with heaps of action and suspense. It's about a lost heiress who mysteriously vanished at the age of 3. Jodie Foster stars as Casey, a tomboy who poses as the lost heiress, Lady Margaret. While living in the large estate Candle Shoe, Casey tries to crack the clues that will lead her to the treasure of Captain Joshua St. Edmund, a legendary pirateer who hid a fortune of gold somewhere in Candle Shoe. While trying to save the estate from being sold because of money problems, Casey battles it out with sinister Henry Bondage and partner Grimsworthy, who are also after the gold. It's interesting to watch Casey change from a hopeless tomboy into someone who cares. Jodie Foster was terrific as Casey, so was Helen Hayes as Lady St. Edmund, but best of all, David Niven was dynamite in his many disguised roles. Now here's a scene from Candle Shoe.
I shall not leave this car. But just make sure it does stop in time.
Very good, lady.
I think Candle Shoe is one of the best Walt Disney movies ever, and I'm sure that the whole family will enjoy it. It just opened, so you'll have plenty of time to see it.
In the next couple of years, the card catalog at the library may be a thing of the past. Computer catalog systems are already being used in 180 libraries in the United States and Canada, including 29 in Illinois. At the touch of a finger, it can print out on a screen the book title, how many copies are owned by the library system, if the book is on the shelves, at what branches you can find the book, and when it needs to be returned. Libraries can install the computers for between $75,000 and $200,000, depending on the size of the library. It sure seems worth it if it'll save us time going through card catalogs. We'll visit Deer Park, hear about the Joffrey Ballet, and find out about the KISS fan club next.
Bubblegum Digest, we're bringing the news to you.
I'm sure most of you have heard of seeing eye dogs for the blind, but have you ever heard of hearing dogs for the deaf? The American Humane Association has a training school for hearing dogs in Denver, which trains all breeds of dogs at an average cost of $1,800 per dog. When dogs hear sounds like doorbells, telephones, and smoke alarms, they're taught to run back and forth between the deaf person and the sound. And when alarm clocks go off, the dogs learn to make contact with the deaf person on the bed. By the end of this year, there will be a hearing dog center for 50 to 75 dogs closer to us in Lincoln, Illinois.
Super Place!
A really super place to go is the White Pines Deer Park in Oregon, Illinois. It's in an area called the Black Hawk Hills, about 100 miles northwest of Chicago. You can see all kinds of animals living on 20 acres of wooded grounds. The owners and managers of Deer Park are Lori and Bob Edlin. Bob showed me around and told me about some of the animals. There are about 100 animals that you can see outside in the winter and about 200 others in the warmer months.
We have about on hand here close to 100 of the fallow deer, which there's quite a few of them right down there. We have 3 different kinds, the black fallow, the white fallow, and the spotted fallow. In the spring, when we get going here, and from there on during the summer, there's about at least 70 of those that get right tame like that. So there's plenty of deer here to feed.
Yeah. They'll walk right up to you while you're walking down the path.
Follow you right around once you'll go.
Oh, it's peeling it off. It's so cute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, want some more?
This is a young elk here. This elk here is just a young buck. That's the one with the antlers on him. He just got part of a rack. That's not a full rack on there.
Is that how you can tell the
Age of them?
boy from the girl?
Oh,
they
well,
have
that's one
antlers?
way, but you can tell by the size of the rack how old they are, too. Well, we might as well go down and look at the buffalo, I guess. Well, here's the buffalo right over here.
They look so big and strong. What is usually the life expectancy of the buffalo?
Well, one of the longest life expectancies of a buffalo in captivity has been 23 years. We had a buffalo here that lived to be 19 years old. This is the most American animal that I have, is a buffalo. Well, we'll go up here and take a look at the Japanese cyca deer.
Okay.
These are the Japanese cyca here. And you notice that that one does have antlers on him. He's in there by himself. He's the only male in there, and I left the antlers on him. These out here that we have in this pen here, we had to take the antlers off because they do a lot of fighting, and they will gouge each other and kill each other.
But they do shed their antlers.
They shed their antlers either in January or February by themselves. That's a natural cycle.
And then they grow them back.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Well, the next thing on the agenda down here is the Russian caracal sheep. These are the Russian caracal sheep. The females are on this side, and the males are over here. Now, the males, they have a horn or an antler that's shaped like a ram, and it really is a ram. That's what they're called.
How big is this whole park?
Well, the deer refuge, that's the part you're in here now, is 11 acres. There's about 20 acres in the park. These are the llamas here, and the female is a brown and white one. The big brown one is the male, and of course this one here was born last year.
Oh, they get pretty big in just a year.
In South America, that's where these come from. They're known as the pack horse.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're glad you can make it today.
Hope you come back and see us again sometime.
Okay, I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The White Pines Deer Park is really a neat place to visit. I'm going to come back here in the summer for sure. This is Sean Gordy reporting for Bubblegum Digest.
If you'd like to visit the White Pines Deer Park in Oregon, Illinois, you can on weekends during the winter and every day between April and October. In the summer, you can even see farm animals and go on rides.
Sweetlana went to the Joffrey Ballet, and she's here now to tell us all about it. Sweetlana?
The New York City-based Joffrey Ballet is performing in Chicago for 2 weeks at the Auditorium Theater. This season, Joffrey brings the new and the familiar, doing everything well, from the classics to interesting contemporary dancing. There are dances to satisfy everyone's taste. If you've never been to a ballet, this might be a good chance to see one for the first time. There's even a new modern version of Romeo and Juliet. I myself prefer a ballet that has a story behind it. On the night I saw it, the Joffrey Ballet mostly performed dances without a plot, but I liked it just the same. And since there wasn't much scenery, the audience could easily focus on the dancers, and there was also some effective lighting in most of the dances. The costumes varied with every dance, from modern to classic costumes. They were all very colorful. During the Saturday matinee on February 18th, the director of the ballet, Robert Joffrey, will give a lecture and a mini performance for any of you who are interested. The Joffrey Ballet will be at the Auditorium Theater through February 18th.
Here's some gossip. Rock star Elton John, who is rarely seen on television, has finally decided to star in his own special early next year. And if the ratings are high, Elton will be back for a series of television specials. Speaking of television, Christy McNichol of the TV series Family hates being called Chrissy, Christina, or Christine, but would prefer to be called Christy, Chris, or even McNichol. And about her relationship with Donny Osmond, Christy says that they are just friends, and at this point in life, she doesn't give too much consideration to love and romance. And lastly, according to Sean Cassidy, he could have been spoiled, but his parents insisted that he always do his share of what had to be done around the house, and when he could, more than his share. As a result, Sean and his brothers learned at an early age how to clean, mend, and even cook. There is no such thing as man's work and women's work. Now that's what I call equal rights.
Do you know what the most popular rock group in the world is? Well, according to a recent Gallup poll, which is a public opinion survey, KISS is. And KISS has a fan club, which you may not know about, called the KISS Army. Members get the official KISS Army news, a KISS Army ID card and membership certificate, information about all of their records, biographies on the group members, an iron-on patch, a full-color poster, and some pictures. So far, about 100,000 people have joined the KISS Army. If you would like to, just send $5 to the KISS Army Headquarters, Department A1, 21777 Ventura Boulevard, Suite 244, Woodland Hills, California, 91364. We'll find out the answer to last week's puzzler, we'll hear about Abe Lincoln, and Debbie will answer some more mail next.
Bubblegum Digest, it's the kids having their say.
And now for the answer to last week's puzzler. We asked you to guess the name of this sea animal that lives in this shell. It belongs to the same class of animals as the squid and octopus and lives at depths of 20 to 1,000 feet in the South Pacific and Indian Oceans. Its soft body is partly covered with a coiled shell that is lined with a rainbow-colored substance called mother of pearl. Did you guess? Well, David Sanchez from Chicago was the first of 9 kids to write in with the correct answer. It's the chambered nautilus. It adds a new and larger chamber to the shell each time it outgrows its old one, and it always lives in the outermost and largest chamber. It's been said that the spiral-shaped shell of the nautilus was used by architect Frank Lloyd Wright when he designed the Guggenheim Museum in New York City. Now for today's puzzler. See if you can guess who this person is. He was born on June 27, 1927, in Lynbrook, New York. He worked as a network TV page in New York until he joined the Marines during World War II. Eventually, he met Bob Smith from the Howdy Doody show and became his assistant. Then he became Clarabelle the Clown. He's been on TV as a star of his own show for 22 years. See if you can guess this week's puzzler before we give you the answer next week.
Tomorrow is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Lincoln was our 16th president and one of the best loved. There's a permanent exhibit at the Chicago Historical Society which tells about his life. Michael Wallensack saw the exhibit, and here's his report.
Abraham Lincoln was born in a log cabin, just like this one in Hodgenville, Kentucky. This scene shows the Lincoln home in Gentryville, Indiana. Abe, always wanting to learn, is sitting by the fire studying. The Lincolns finally settled in Illinois. When Abe grew up and left to be on his own, he moved to New Salem and took his first job as a clerk in a general store. Abe spent a lot of time studying law. This is the actual desk and chair he used. He held many public offices in the state and federal government. But in 1856, he joined the anti-slavery Republican Party and he ran for the United States Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. He challenged Douglas to a series of debates on slavery. Large crowds attended, and the two men became famous around the country. This is a replica of the parlor in Lincoln's Springfield, Illinois home. It was here that the committee from the Republican convention met with him and told him he'd been chosen as their candidate for president. When Lincoln took office in 1861, 6 southern states had left the Union because of the slavery issue, and the Civil War broke out. In 1862, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the slaves in the Confederate territory. This is the actual table on which he signed it. The Civil War continued through Lincoln's 4 years in office. This is a scene which shows the dedication of a cemetery at the battlefield in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Lincoln is giving his famous Gettysburg Address. The most touching part of the exhibits is on Lincoln's death. This scene shows Lincoln and his wife watching a play at Ford's Theater. A few minutes after 10 o'clock on the evening of April 14th, an actor named John Wilkes Booth shot the president in the head. Unconscious, President Lincoln was carried to a nearby rooming house. He was put on this bed, and never regained consciousness. Surrounded by his family and high government officials, Abraham Lincoln died at 7:22 the next morning.
If you want to learn more about Lincoln, you can see the exhibit at the Chicago Historical Society. It's at Clark Street and North Avenue, and it's open from 9:30 to 4:30 Monday through Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sundays.
And now for what's happening in the Chicago area for kids. Clap Your Hands is an original musical performed and staged by Little and Big Brothers and Sisters of Metropolitan Chicago. You can see it at La Follette Park Auditorium at 1333 North Laramie in Chicago. Performances are February 16th, 17th, 23rd, and 24th at 7:30 p.m. Peru's Golden Treasures, a special exhibit of pre-Columbian gold objects, opens this Thursday at the Field Museum. This rare collection from South America will be on display until May 21st. The Wilmette Children's Theater presents its annual Carousel 78 review called I Will, next weekend and the following weekend. This musical introduces Shakespeare in a way that young people can understand. All performances will be held at Highcrest Theater in Wilmette. Call the Park District for showtimes. The Brookfield Zoo has a special winter animal tour. They have free booklets about cold weather animals like reindeer, snow leopards, and many more. The Brookfield Zoo is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the winter.
And now, Dear Debbie.
I'd like to thank these kids for the nice letters they wrote to us. Jennifer Thomas, Annette Torres, and Michael Ignatius. The first problem is about moving. Michelle Ciaccio writes that she's moving away from home, and she says she'll miss her friends. She wants to know how to get new ones. Michelle, it is hard to make new friends, but one thing, it's best if you make friends with someone who likes to do what you do. Also, it's easier to make 1 or 2 friends at a time. So what you might do is watch kids while they're playing, find one who's doing something by himself, then you could go up to her and introduce yourself and tell her you'd like to play too. The next letter is from Carrie Stafford, who's having trouble with a friend. Carrie says every time she plays with someone else, her friend gets jealous. Carrie, jealousy is not a very nice thing. You've got to sit down with your friend and talk to her about this. Tell her that it's not fun to be around someone who's angry and jealous, and that when she is that way, you don't want to be friends with her. I think if you make her understand that her jealousy is going to break up your friendship, she'll stop. The last letter is a really nice one. Michelle Grant says a little girl just moved into her apartment building, and she can't walk or go to school. And because people call her names, she doesn't want to play with anyone. Michelle wants to know how she can cheer her up. Michelle, I think just spending a little time with her once in a while would be terrific. Maybe you could play one of your favorite games with her. Also, it would be really nice if sometime you brought one of your nice friends over and the 3 of you played. Remember, if you have a problem, write to me. Dear Debbie, in care of Bubblegum Digest, WMAQ-TV, 19th floor of the Merchandise Mart, Chicago.
Thanks, Debbie. We'll see you next week.
And we hope you'll all join us again next Saturday and every Saturday at noon for more news and fun on Bubblegum Digest.
Don't forget, if you have a problem, just write to Dear Debbie in care of Bubblegum Digest, 19th floor of the Merchandise Mart, Chicago.